I did
Free
it.
League.
There we go. I think they can hear us and see us now. Hopefully they can. So hello, hi, Adventures in Lollygagging and friends. Everyone will do some introductions in a minute and plug their pluggables and all that kind of stuff. But we are playing Vaesen tonight, continuing our kind of, the mystery that we started 2 episodes ago. So 2 weeks ago, we started a new ep called New Mystery called Tale of Two Sisters. And we're in episode 2. Maybe we'll finish tonight. Maybe not. We'll see how it goes. Bad Billy has already renamed the town in which this mystery takes place from Tanis to Bad Billy D's Bad Billy Town. So that's official.
All right.
It's in the Swedish history books now. So that's how everyone must now refer to it tonight. So we'll do the summary in a second. Let's just go through and say hello. So tell us who you're playing, plug whatever you got to plug, and yeah. So we'll just go in order of the overlay. So Dan, you're up first.
Try to keep it short. Dan with the Defenders of Kobold, and I'm playing Rubatega, the military wisp. It turns out, dark secret there. I'm hiding from our military friend that we ran into in this town rather sooner than I anticipated.
Yes, Captain Davidson immediately assessed you, and that might be a problem for you as the mystery continues.
He's coming across as quite a badass.
Yeah, Rubatega being still relatively new to the party, as you played a Dogmore for a while and switched over. And your specific archetype, the class was what? Was it officer? What were you?
Yeah, it was officer.
Okay, right on. And Bert.
Hey, I'm Bert, or BizLab on the inner tubes. I am the host of Steam, Steel, and Murder, the podcast. Tonight, I'm playing Gunnar Arrowwood, Detective Extraordinaire, One-Eyed Detective Extraordinaire.
That's true. Yeah. And for those who might just be joining us, do you want to tell them how Gunnar lost that eye?
Well, he seems to be plagued with this small werewolf problem, started in childhood and just progressed.
Yeah. Yep. One of the mysteries we played not too long ago, about 2 months ago at this point. Encountered some werewolves and lost one in a fight. But hey, you won the fight, so that's what matters. Chuck.
Oh, that's me. Hi. I'm Chuck with the Defenders of Kobold. You can find us at, twitch.tv/Defenders of Kobold. We play stuff and things in places. It's great. I'm playing Anders tonight, the professor of the group. I know things sometimes. Yes, that's it.
And Anders has been going through some problems lately.
Oh, yes, I have. I have a friend named Franklin. Franklin lives in my pockets. Franklin is this gnarly looking bug.
PG-13 stream, Chuck. Come on.
Is it?
No, I don't know. I'm just kidding. It's not. Do what you want.
I didn't even realize I cursed. What did I say?
No, you didn't say anything.
No.
Your friend in your pocket named Franklin who looks like a bug. So.
Wiener. That's great. Anyway. So when I treat Franklin nice, I think he does nice things for me. But the problem is that our good doctor smashed Franklin. And I did not do so great
for science.
That.
For science.
So I gotta sit down and have a real heart to heart with Franklin. Like, what do you want? Why? A lot of whys. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. Down to the bottom row, we got Melissa.
Melissa with Adventures in Lollygagging. I play Sigrid, who is the group's priest. She can absolve people and bless people, and she's does a little bit of everything.
Does Sigrid have any lingering injuries or anything from previous mysteries?
I don't believe so.
Okay, she's the
target
this time. Got it. Okay, just making sure. Spreading the wealth.
Yep.
Jeremy.
Yeah, I'll be playing Caius. I thought I was going to be the target. Jeff told me that he was going to give me a new character tonight, but maybe he's going to break that promise, and that's okay. Caius is a timid little writer who can do like the automatic writing thing where he channels spirits to get a hint for stuff. He's a moneybags and a strangely good shot with a pistol.
Yes, especially when he closes his eyes and looks away.
Yep.
Just somehow manages to hit every time.
He gets a weird surge of luck with blind panic.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And did you mention your podcast?
I did not. So yeah, some fun folks talking about comics at the Plewdcast, PLEWD.
All right, perfect. And then Joe.
I'm Joe with the Defenders of Kobold, and I'm playing Yürgan Leinbaldersön, who is a doctor who tries to do his best to help his teams, and sometimes might make things worse. But it's a investment in testing Franklin's limits and things.
Sure.
So.
Stay away from Franklin.
Hey, look, anything that brings pain to pretty much anyone else in this party, I'm totally in.
Well, if you'd keep Franklin in your pants, this wouldn't be a problem.
That's true.
That's fair. Listen, I only showed the group Franklin once.
Oh God.
That was enough for it to
And
be
then a
valid,
separate
right?
private meeting with the doctor.
Yeah.
No, geez.
Franklin, doctor, does this look normal? Shows him my Franklin.
I'm not a doctor. Why are you showing me that?
Maybe you can write about it. Yeah, put it in one of your stories. All right, and so let's dive into what happened so far. So we're on a new mystery. So all of our mysteries are some are standalone. We have some threads that meander from one to the next, but every mystery in itself is standalone. So we're on episode 2. We didn't get too far into it last time, but essentially, you all had a shared dream. That was the invitation this time. All of you, one night, had these 2 women. One kind of tall, powerful-looking woman, and one kind of more shorter, meek-looking woman. And the 2 of them were in a room filled with candles and darkness, and they were pleading for anybody that could possibly help. And all sorts of weird things started happening the morning after, and through various signs, you were pointed to a place previously known as Tanis, but now is known as, let me get it right, Bad Billy D's Bad Billy Town. And it's in the middle of nowhere. There's no railroad that kind of led to it, not even particularly close at all. And you all traveled there. We did our journey phase, and we did our prep phase, and you were traveling through kind of this long valley, kind of a forested valley, hills, not like huge steep mountains, but decently high hills. You were led there by a guide who was constantly telling you about bears and how and you guys were constantly asking about bears and wolverines and such. But eventually you made it to Tanis. All the while, Anders was having some trouble. He, at one point, at many points, he was having dreams of what basically looks like hell. And then also his body has physically changed in some way. He started to twist. It's almost like his spine has developed a kind of a form of scoliosis. And so you can see that he's not quite standing up straight. He's sort of hunching from time to time. You arrived in town. And you quickly, as most good RPG parties do, rushed over to the local bar to ask questions. Hey, Matt, how's it going? And apparently you pissed everyone off there because none of you could roll to save your life 2 weeks ago. It's so many fails. So you kept asking questions, and no one really wanted to tell you anything. You got a couple little nibbles here and there. You've learned that there's 2 sisters, but the Stromberg sisters, who have been sentenced to death because of devilry, and they were and they're considered responsible for the disappearance of a priest by the name of Father Matteo, who no one knows where he's at. There is a woman who now runs the church, who is kind of ironically called Sister Emily. She's not a real nun, but people sort of refer to her in that way. There is a former military hero named Captain Davidson, who kind of serves as both sheriff and mayor of the town, kind of makes a lot of decisions and such. You've heard that there is a historian of some kind that has been into the area, because you're not the first out-of-towners to arrive, and it's kind of strange to have so many out-of-towners in such a out-of-the-way place. So there's the historian, and apparently a very a good-looking assistant that comes along with him. And then there is apparently a group of surveyors that are looking to kind of push a train tracks kind of nearby that people are excited about. You managed to convince Sister Emily that you all are officially working for the church to investigate the disappearance of Father Mateo. That ruse was quickly turned over by Captain Davidson, who called Caius out on that bullshit. Caius had to... So basically, Captain Davidson knows, and you all crashed for the night at the church. You also know that the women are being held, and that they've been trying to build a gallows, but they've had to rebuild it twice. Once because it was just, you know, like, and when you inspected the wood, there's like rotting and rusting of nails and such. But there's also like the shaking of the earth, which seems to have happened. And not only did it happen to destroy the gallows, it happened in the middle of the night as Anders woke up from a horrible dream about hell to the shaking of the earth, which is very, very strange because, as we learned, Sweden doesn't really have earthquakes, but lo and behold, the earth was shaken, and it is pre-dawn. You're in the in this church on the top of a hill overlooking Tanis, and the time is yours. What do y'all want to do?
Someone needs to follow.
Well, yeah, I'm sure we'll get blamed for that shaking.
It hasn't stopped, by the way. It's still. Yeah. It's not like, you know, you're not too. You know, it doesn't look like things are falling down, but you can definitely see, like, as you walk, it's shaking a little bit.
Maybe we should go look at those gallows and see what's happening to them. They're probably why this is happening.
Maybe.
I am sure you're right, but I'm also sure if we show up there, we might get blamed for it.
It's a worm sign, I'm telling you.
It's a worm sign.
How are the townsfolk taking it? Like, does this appear to be the first time it's happened, or are they just like, meh, third time this week?
So you are the church itself is not in the center of town. It's on a hill outside of town, and that's where you all are. So you don't see it, and plus it's pre-dawn. So consider it like 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that. You know, around there. And
Can we see the village down below?
We'll say that, like, when the sun comes up, you'll be able to. But since the sun isn't yet fully up, you probably can't get a good. There might be a light or two, a torch or a lantern or something on here and there, but you probably can't get a good view of the town.
When possible, I want to ascertain if it's just us shaking, like if it's just the cliff, or if it's down through the valley as well.
Okay.
Sigurd's under a pew because, you know, we've already established earthquakes don't really happen. So she's
Yeah.
just under a pew at first.
This is very
waiting
odd.
to see if this is going to pass.
Okay, no problem. And after it probably goes on for a continual minute almost of just shaking, and nothing really breaks. You can see a lot of the dust and sand and dirt and whatever kind of falling down from between the planks of wood and between the stacks of stone. And you can see that a lot of the pews, some of them aren't loose. They're not hammered down, so they're shifting all over the place. The door itself has begun to rattle a bit. But again, it's nothing like California base or anything like that. But it does shake. And then after about a minute, it's gone. And everything settles.
Okie dokie.
Well, that was lovely.
Have they been rebuilding the gallows in the exact same spot every time?
Yeah, there's like a town center.
Yep.
Which is not near here. It's probably about a mile away from you.
I want to investigate that site, see how they're targeting it, see if there's like some runes or something that looks fishy that's around there.
Okay, so you want to head into town?
Yeah.
Okay, is anybody else looking to do that?
Sure.
Oh yeah, heading into town.
All right.
Yeah, I'll tag along. Yeah.
Okay.
At some point, it would make sense to talk to the sisters, and that'll be in town as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not a bad way to start the morning.
Okay. You also know that Captain Davidson requested your presence. He wants to talk. He says he wanted to talk to you all about why you're really here, since the conversation with Caius was revealed that you don't actually work for the church, and so he does want to see you at some point today. It's still, again, very early, but you go ahead, get clothed, etc., and you start moving into town.
We should probably settle on a story we're going to tell too.
Okay.
I mean,
Probably
why don't we
should.
just I mean, why don't we just tell the truth outside of like getting visions from the witches? I mean,
Probably
we
fine.
have somebody here that studies weird occult things. We caught word of something strange here. You know, we do have a member of the church that has a legitimate reason to care about a missing priest. We have, you know, a person who studies the arcane. We have a professional surgeon who can do medical review. We have a soldier here to help back us up in case like freaking bears. And then of course we have a detective. And then I'm just the asshole with money.
I
Why
mean,
couldn't
The
you
greatest
told this-
superpower of all.
we at least can't call us on our BS at that point because it's not BS.
Why couldn't you have told that story last time?
I don't do well under pressure. He's a very large man.
He was. He's
See, these are Jeremy's ideas right now. Last time it was Kai.
Yeah, that's Jeremy,
Very
like
good,
talking very
RP.
calmly and
Mhm.
rationally.
so who I know one or two of you've got lanterns, right? So
Mhm.
Hurricane lamp.
okay, so whoever's got, I think Sigrid, you have one. Does somebody else have
Yes.
one?
Yeah, Caius does.
Oh, so Caius and Sigrid, go ahead and roll observation tests for me.
Oh no.
Let's get it
I
started.
have
Let's see how it
binoculars.
goes.
Observation.
Flash
Starting
won't
off
help
like
just
last
yet.
time.
Oh wait. Okay, come on. Observation. Do it. There we go. Nope.
Yeah, would either of you like to push?
No.
I've
Okay.
already got a condition from last time.
Me too.
Don't forget that you can always ask for scenes in which you heal those at some point. It's not like you can't do that, you know. Okay, so you continue on your way to town, and when you get there, there are a handful of lights that have started to come on in some of the buildings around the village, but for the most part, it's fairly dark. And you make it to the town center without any problem. You can see that the gallows are still there, and remember that they had like the basic platform ready, and the stairs leading up, and the trapdoor, but they haven't set like the rafters where they're going to be hanging from. And as you go up to it, it looks like they're still intact.
Okay, I don't want to go touch them and test them this time like I did last time.
Is there any indication that the earthquake hit down here? Is there anything fallen over?
You look around, you don't see anything that suggests. I mean, there's maybe a tipped over crate or a barrel, but nothing that would suggest, anything more than just maybe the wind or whatever, or just people not paying attention to the alleyways. But no, it doesn't look like there's anything too terrible here.
Well, that's peculiar.
Maybe it was just to wake us up.
It's quite an alarm.
It is.
Set earthquake for 6:30.
So, again, it's not like you can start to see the sun coming up a little bit, and so there's starting to be a little bit of light off to the west, but or southwest or south. But you're not, there's some people on the streets already. Like you see them packing up and kind of getting to work here and there, but it's still not particularly busy yet. Could name the country too. Sweden is changing. Sweden is no longer Sweden. It's Big Bad Billy's country. Okay.
Bad Billy's bad land.
Yeah, it's bad country for Big Billy. All right.
There we go.
So what would you like to do? You probably got an hour. You'd probably guess before like things kind of get hopping here.
So it didn't knock over the gallows, which is what we all presumed was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we go talk to the witches before there's too many people to see us trying to talk to them.
Well, it doesn't
Yeah.
seem to have affected the valley here at all. There's nothing knocked over.
That's correct.
I wonder if it was more localized to just the church.
Which
Why wouldn't-
is
Just to get our attention.
unfortunate
Yeah.
considering it's on a cliff, which could shatter.
Yeah.
Details.
What?
Yeah.
Is there a library in town?
There's probably something like that around. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Probably won't be as robust as maybe a big city, but you'll get a lot of probably local stuff. Sure.
I just want local history. Actually, I want to find out if there was extensive mining in the area.
Okay. All right. You probably won't be able to get into it until later, but like we can fast forward. I'm totally fine with fast forwarding over the course of the say if everyone kind of mills about for a bit. But
Do we want to try to see the sisters? Too many people are up.
I think that would be worthwhile. I think you're right that they were trying to maybe send a message to us.
Or we can get the local law enforcement out of the way first before he decides to lock us up for interviewing his townsfolk.
That's also a good idea. What's your plan on that?
Would it hurt to tell the truth that we were sent here?
They seem like such open-minded people. What could go wrong with that? We had
perhaps
a
they
dream and we
have
came.
reason to be closed-minded. I mean, perhaps this town does have a history of this sort of thing.
And we don't know if,
trying to
we don't know
their
who's
supposed
involved with
witches.
what we're trying to do too.
I think the research needs to happen first, at least somewhat.
Okay.
Find out a little bit more about the town.
So we'll fast forward then. Dawn comes around, morning comes. You are right there at the door of some sort of it's more like a kind of a town annals as opposed to like a full-on library, and there is a lovely old woman who shows up early in the morning, and she's surprised that there's anybody here this early, and she looks at you with great confusion because no one really comes here.
Ooh. I'm sorry, Jeff. Could I have thought to have stopped somewhere along the way to bring a big pot of coffee?
Sure.
Yeah,
you can stop by the Lions.
help
Lions
out
pub.
with the greeting.
Sure, you can stop by the Lions pub, which they kind of give you a little bit of a kind of a dirty look. There's no one really there this early, but they're kind of getting set up. And you grab yourself a pot of coffee, bring it over, and she's
coffee and some day old pastries.
And so the woman, like you offer her some coffee. She lets you in. She's a little bit flustered. It's still early, but she welcomes you in, and you wait around for a moment or two, and eventually she comes in. What is it you're looking for?
History of the town, how it was founded. Did you have a large mining concern in the area? Those cliffs over there, for instance, is that natural or was that hollowed out by extensive mining?
So she, she's like, well, I'm the best person here to talk about the history, and she'll go on a fairly long 30-minute lecture that takes about 100 different turns that you probably don't want.
Actually, I will offer to help her set up for the day while talking and chatting and just being, as very pleasant as I can. And make her just spill everything. Just let her just diarrhea of the mouth.
Okay, roll a manipulation test. Let's see if you can get see how much we get out of this. You get some things, but
manipulation. I do that. Any bonus for the coffee and the helping?
Sure. We'll say take a +2.
Hello.
So,
oh, you dropped there. I did not hear that. What was the bonus?
2.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
All right, 2 successes.
Okay. So she'll, in direct answer to your question, she'll say, we've done, there's some mining, but not the ones that you're pointing to. Like when you point over, because I'm assuming you're pointing towards the church, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the
church, the cliff that the church is on.
The church is basically a fairly big hill. There's no steep drop off anywhere. It's just a big hill. But she says, no. That's no one's ever gone there. It's a very, it's a special hill. It's kind of the hill on which the whole town was planned, hundreds of years ago. The church came by and built it not too long ago, actually, within her lifetime that the church was built. And she's probably in her late 60s, and she'll tell you that while there's been some mining done in the area, most of it she'll kind of point vaguely to the northwest to some of these larger. They're not nothing too nothing like the Rockies or anything, but they're much larger mountains. Like there's a little bit over there, but primarily it's been logging industry and hunting and fishing and such that has sustained the place more than anything.
So with the history, the church was a latecomer then. So what founded the village? Generally, there's a reason a village is founded. Was the mining the reason? Other resources?
Originally, she describes it as kind of a trading post that just happened to fit in between a few connected valleys, and there was a significant population of people who hunted the grounds, large bear population as well for a very long time. And there's also some kind of reindeer herding and stuff that goes on, but that is a little bit more migratory. And this just happened to be in a fairly good place for that. And that's where this that's why it was founded here. Trying to think if there's anything else she would give you or she would have to tell, but what other questions might you have?
Well, I guess also unusual circumstances that have happened.
Okay.
Unexplained events, crimes that had gone unsolved, things like that.
She mentions that one of the reasons that the town hasn't, really grown too much was because of kind of a strange shift in the presence of animals in the forest and how they kind of shifted away from some of the common hunting grounds. And it's very much scarcer there. So it's a lot. It's not that it's absent of any animals or anything like that, but it's just harder to find, and it's more so than you would imagine. It's one thing if this were a big city, she says, but it's a small town. Like we're still a very, just a few hundred people. So that was, and that kind of hurt them a bit. And so you can see some people kind of moved off from Tanis to Merrowby to the northeast because that seemed to be better grounds. She also mentions the Stromberg Sisters more recently, how they were kind of supposedly, this wasn't the first time that they have engaged in this type of practice, that they often would make kind of like she's heard rumors of sacrifices and such that have been made in the Highlands to the northwest. Unsolved crimes, she doesn't think of anything too salacious, just a missing this or missing that. No people other than Father Mateo. Father Mateo missing was just what is this? This doesn't happen here. Usually if someone goes missing, it's because they got lost in the forest or they sprained an ankle and didn't make their way back in time.
So I will be spending probably hours listening to her talk, being helpful to her. So I will do this while other people.
All right. The rest of you then, while Gunnar is off doing that, what are the rest of you doing?
I think we're still down for trying to go visit the that's great placement of that chat pop.
I know, right? It just happens.
I think the rest of us are still on for trying to go talk to the sisters.
Okay. So from what you would have gathered, Captain Davidson has his own multi-purpose place in the middle of town, and a couple of you saw him yesterday come out of a building with Sister Emily, and you can know exactly where to go. There's not a clearly marked jail or anything, but you knock on his door, and you can see he opens it up. Fully dressed, fully uniformed, looked like he's been up for an hour and a half. Like he's the guy who's an early riser, very impressive looking man, and he looks over at Caius. I said in the morning, and well, here you are. I didn't think it was going to be this early, but this will do.
We started off on the wrong foot, and we a new day, new dawn. We'd like to turn this around, and thank you for seeing us.
All right. Are y'all coming in?
Yeah.
If it's okay with you.
Y'all have breakfast yet this morning?
Yeah. No,
we have not.
Well, I'm not much of a cook. There's a bowl. He's like points over this big old pot, some porridge over there. You're welcome to it. And again,
I actually like to cook. If you care for something,
I've already made it. You're trying to say my cooking's not good enough there, Mr. Roden.
Nope.
Just doesn't meet your fine, fancy, big city palate. Is that what you're
No,
trying to
it
say?
looks like exactly the hearty fare that I would need to survive in a place like this.
Mhm.
I just like to offer being nice.
I
I'm
see.
going to sit in the corner now.
Yeah, why don't you do that? So, I'm just going to cut right to the chase. You're Mr. Moneybags over here. He told me that y'all are not who you claim to be. And I aim to suss out
So-
exactly who you are and what you're aiming to do here.
Sure. I
I'm
think
a
our
doctor.
yeah, I think our friend there, Mr. Moneybags, I think we've decided that, truth might be the best way to go for this.
Honesty is always the best policy.
That's a thing that I've heard.
If you're always honest, you never have to remember what you said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So it's a long story. Like, does anyone have a good idea on where to start?
this isn't the first weird thing that we've heard about or investigated.
Kind of our thing.
What do you mean, weird thing?
We are members of I don't want to call it like an order or an organization.
Yeah, you actually, one of the things is you got, like, one of your main, like, the prime directive is you keep this secret. Unless other people
Yeah.
have the site, you don't talk about this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you have to dance a little bit carefully here.
Okay. Okay.
More like people with common interests.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It started for me. I work as a professor for insert the name of the college I work for.
I think it's just Uppsala University.
Uppsala University, yeah.
Unless
I work.
anybody wants to name it, and we'll take it.
Big
Yeah,
Bad
we'll
Billy
take
D
that.
University.
I am an educator for Uppsala University. I research folklore and I don't want to say paranormal, but
History and folklore probably would make sense.
yeah, history, folklore, stuff like that. And I've met this group of other people interested in the same kind of folklore and history, and we've kind of taken it upon ourselves to, when we hear of weird things that you only hear of in the storybooks, we go and investigate it and see what's going on.
Couple questions for you there. What was your name again?
Anders.
Mr. Anders. Yeah, it's the second time in about a week that I had a man coming in my town saying that he's a traveling historian and folklorist looking to learn about various things in the area. And that's the second time I've heard Uppsala University mentioned. So is there just just like the running lie that it's going around in the big cities these days?
I don't know of anyone else from Uppsala University that would be doing this. That's interesting, but I can assure you that I'm not lying about this. This is what we do. I can show you, my writings and thesis information and, my credentials from the university.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure. And I'll go ahead and show him what I've got on me. Yeah.
So he just throws some random stuff out and he takes a look.
Yeah.
Well, all right. The second question I got for you, Mr. Andrews, is what is so strange about a missing person?
It's not necessarily the missing person that's strange. I mean, that is tragic and not good, and the welfare of the child is very important.
Right.
But it's more so this talk of devilcraft and the involvement of these two sisters that have drawn our attention.
Now, I've been led to believe
And the
that there's.
earthquakes.
I beg your pardon?
Joe?
And the earthquakes.
Earthquakes. Now, we had a little bit
Does
of a
not everybody
thing.
know about that?
Yeah, we had a little bit of a shake the other day. It was a little strange, but I think just I think just the one. Anyhow, uh,
Didn't feel the one just this morning.
no, can't say I did. Now, I've been led to
Partly why
believe.
we're here so early.
Yeah, okay. I've been led to believe that there's someone amongst you that's of the church. Is that correct?
That's me.
Now, madam, uh, you believe in the devil?
Of course.
You believe that the devil manifests in the world in a variety of ways, evils and such?
So the stories go.
So, I ask again, what's so strange about this? It seems that we've got unfortunate two folk who consorted with the devil and have, fortunately, we have caught them, and they are not yet willing to reveal what they've done with Father Mateo. So, what you see as strange, I see as a crime.
And so, given that, what is the evidence? Because certainly looking at this from a church perspective, we hear stories and conjecture and all of that can fill a story. I'm curious from the legal perspective, what type of evidence is there of this crime and their connection to it?
Well, we've had multiple eyewitnesses that they practice some sort of magic on the blonde boy, and somehow managed to heal what should have been a debilitating injury. These are powers that, as far as I know, are not normally associated with laymen like us. Two, upon talking to them about this, they freely admitted it. And three, upon investigating their home, we found all manner of questionable materials of the satanic kind.
And so, what is the evidence of the connection to Father Mateo's disappearance?
Well, Father Mateo, multiple times, got into a bit of an argument with the two of them, trying to save them. Good man that he was, or is, I should say. And, they cursed him multiple times, both verbally and, one might assume, satanically. There was animosity and motive.
Understood. So it seems from the observation so far that any type of action that they had taken was to the benefit of the boy, and we don't have belongings of Father Mateo's in their home or any type of thing like that we're hanging them for the death of someone that has
we're not hanging him for the death because we don't think you don't think he's dead. We don't know one way or the other. They certainly did something with him, but they're being hanged for consorting with the devil. Thought that was abundantly clear. Now, if they were to reveal what has befallen Father Mateo, we might afford them some manner of leniency. But as of yet, they have been steadfast in their denials.
But they admitted right away, or at least reasonably soon in your questioning, they admitted to the actions they had taken with the boy.
Of course, there are multiple witnesses, and the boy himself is even first to come forward. And then his parents and other onlookers were there to verify. The boy had a terribly broken body, and within a day, he was no longer broken.
I'm going to confess my confusion because I'm by no means a professional investigator or a war hero or just a strapping man like yourself, but I'm just confused if they had talked with Father Mateo and they understood the weight of what they were doing and how it was taken by those who knew of it. They took a great risk to do this in front of so many witnesses it's just strange to me that they would do that knowing that they would face consequences and yet reserve information about Father Mateo if they had information about him.
Well, the channeling of these black magics seems to have afforded them a level of confidence in their skill and ability that they was not warranted.
Is there any way we could at least delay their proceedings until we have more information on?
We
Father?
have delayed enough, I think. When the gallows is completed, we will go ahead and execute them.
If you believe that they have the information of Mateo, then you will bear that information with them.
They have, as of yet, not revealed it. If they decide to do a last-minute confession, I will weigh that confession accordingly. But until said time, as that confession comes forward, I see no reason not to go through with this. It is the will not only of the people of this town, but of God himself.
Could we perhaps talk with them to see if we can gather any information?
Especially if no one from the church has been able to make contact with them recently. I would certainly want to do that. We are doing all of this in the spirit of protecting this town from these influences. It would seem a good idea to allow a member of the church to speak with them.
So you say that's your story this morning, but I'm not so sure if I should allow a bunch of strangers who, when first meeting me and one of my friends, acquaintances, chose to lie directly to our face multiple times, and only when confronted with that lie was the truth finally set free. So I'm now to allow you all to consort with devil worshippers, perhaps kidnappers and such.
I mean, your concern for our safety is, certainly magnanimous.
No, don't misunderstand me. I'm not
believe
concerned
we
for
could-
your safety. I'm concerned for the safety of this town.
And that's understandable. In fairness, when we came here, we didn't really understand the town. We wanted to investigate. A comment taken out of turn over at the pub went poorly, and it just seemed like sometimes you mean well, and then one thing goes wrong, and then you try just a slight adjustment. You don't mean anything by it, but then that leads into another thing, and then that leads into another thing, and it just starts snowballing, and there's no way to stop it until you just admit it and come clean. And we're terribly sorry. I'm incredibly scared of you, but we really want to do the right thing.
All right. Someone can roll a manipulation test. You're going to need 2 successes, though.
I'll give it a go.
So you can take aid from...
Can I assist at
I'll
all
say-
since we've kind of both been
Yeah,
chatting?
I'll say you could take +2 to this because a couple people have been chatting.
Nice.
But you will
Okay.
need 2 successes to convince him to let you see them.
Okay, so I've got 10. I don't take stress when I do it, and I've got a +2, so I'll roll 12 dice.
Okay.
Woohoo.
All right.
Okay.
Finally.
So,
Did the do.
after strong consideration, he kind of looks out at you and he says, I'll allow you 10 minutes. I will be on the other side of this door right here. And if anything strange happens, there's plenty of time to add extra nooses to the gallows. You understand that, Mr. Roden?
Why?
We understand.
I mean, of course.
Okay. All right. So he
Perfect answer both times.
he leads you to the back of this building, and he pulls a big old ring, and he's got like 3 or 4 different keys on it. Opens it up, or kind of unlocks a door. That's knocks on it a bit. Calls out. He said, "Anika, Liz, you got visitors." And the door creaks open up, and you guys all see, those of you who are here, basically the same room that you all saw in your dreams. There's looks like the windows have been boarded up, and then there's a couple candles that are glowing, but you see that there's these 2 cots on either side of the room, And as you go in, there's a woman. As they stand when you walk in, one of them's fairly tall, probably a good 6'1", and looks strong. Kind of vibrant blonde hair, and then another is much shorter, almost a foot shorter, and is kind of meek, dark hair. Looks not sickly, but definitely looks quite thin. And the door closes behind you, and as he closes it, I say it, 10 minutes. Anything funny, you're gonna hang. And he closes the door.
Man,
Well,
this guy's kids.
yeah. Well, sisters, we received your call.
And they kind of share a look with another. Oh, goodness. So you all can see.
Yes.
We can see you clearly.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Like you noticed one, you kind of notice a weird look by the kind of the meek one who kind of does a double take towards, as if she was about to say something. But the taller of the sisters just sort of kind of gives her a quick shake. And she says, "We need your help. We need to leave this entire town has lost their minds. They mean to kill us.
They sure do.
Please help us. We have very little that we can offer, but whatever we have some coin that we have collected. It's not much, but
We don't want your money.
Yeah, I can't speak for everyone, but I'm not interested in financial or payment or reward for this.
I don't want you to get killed for helping a boy be able to walk. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, I don't really like watching anybody get killed, but that seems especially harsh.
Oh, thank you. That makes us very happy to hear. Does it not, Liz? And she looks up. And, oh, yes, it's. Thank you so much. Have you talked some sense into the captain? At
No.
least?
He
Not a
seems
bit.
unreasonable.
Where
They-
is now? The captain did say that if we can provide the location of the missing father or priest, they'd be willing to consider leniency for you.
But we don't know where he is. We've said this to him 100 times. We don't know.
Do you?
Is there anyone else that has any like malice towards him that you know of in town?
No, he's seemingly well liked in town. Those who live in the Highlands are a little less receptive to the church, but we're not violent people here.
Do you recall what your latest interaction with him was? Was he also there at the event with the child and his family, or?
No, he was not there for that, but he was there shortly before that, of course. He was making his rounds, beseeching those of us who live outside of the town limits to come to the church. None of us, of course, would take up the invitation. We also saw him in town when we had to buy some sundries and things, and of course he would whisper and gossip about us and spread awful untruths about us consorting with the devil and other nonsense. But no, I don't know of anyone else. Now Emily is a very mischievous woman. Don't let her confuse you. She has hated us since we were children. I wouldn't put it past her to have done something to him, just to spite us, perhaps. Even saying that out loud, I don't even know if I believe it. But she is not.
She is now sitting in the church as a sister. She mentioned you taking her on some sort of trek into the wilds as a child, and
She is still bringing that up. We were children. We played a prank, and she has not let us forget it for 20 years.
Are there any places that Emily might go or take someone
That
you might know? Places you used to play or something like that, perhaps?
we played in the
If she
Highlands a
were-
bit, wandered about.
If you were perhaps to do something to take advantage of the situation and hide the father away somewhere.
She doesn't. Well, she just has her home. That's it. She lives alone. No one would take her. Now she says she's married to God, whatever that means. But she owns no tracts of land or anything. She's a very pathetic woman, if you ask us. And the meek one is just sort of nodding along, like, agreed. So no, I can't think of anything like that. But you all are you all have the sight. It means you have powers. We can just overpower the captain.
Just not our desire
Oh.
to fight the town.
No, that's
We
we
wanna
don't want to
fight
see you.
the town. Just one man.
No, that doesn't sound right. How about this? Can you walk us through your series of events that led you here?
The Magni boy was playing in the Highlands. He fell off a small cliff about 20 feet. He broke several bones in his body. His back was contorted. My sister and I have some skills. We applied those skills. I won't bore you with the details, but we applied those skills, and within a day, his wounds had started to heal. His
Actually,
bones
quite
had started to mend.
interested in those details as a doctor.
Well, as a doctor, I don't think anything I could tell you would make sense to you. You all, with your science and whatnot. This is
As a
He's
sighted doctor,
surprisingly
maybe.
open-minded.
when Liz and I were younger. When Liz was younger, she was a very sick child. Our parents were much more like me, tall, strong, and as you can see, Liz is not. And Liz doesn't really seem offended by it. She doesn't, basically. And when we were younger, we experimented. We practiced poultices. We found interesting combinations of things in the wild. And
On your own, or with direction from someone else, your parents? Or...
no, our parents weren't involved. This was us, and you can see that they kind of look at each other, and they kind of exchange a look. Suffice to say,
Can I? Is there like a what's the insight
observation.
equivalence of that observation?
Yeah, you can go ahead and roll it.
I want to make an observation just specifically on how they're reacting
Interacting.
to
Yeah.
where they're getting those like talents and skills from.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have anything to add to observation.
Would you like to push?
Yeah.
Go for it. There you go. Whoa!
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 Alright.
Look at this.
And a raid too, all at the same time.
Oh, look at that.
All right.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Untold Stories Project. Appreciate that
Great,
raid.
Alex.
Rotten Joe success.
Mm-hmm.
We are playing Vaesen tonight.
Sure.
They are investigating. They are talking with two women who are about to be hanged. All right. And Yürgan just discovered that they are holding something back. Clearly, they specifically, when you asked whether or not they did this alone or whether like they were like taught by someone or whatever, there was a very clear look between the two of them, as if like making sure not to say, like as if they're exchanging a look. When you said the parent stuff, it seemed to give them an out to kind of distract the conversation. Like, oh no, definitely not our parents. But You don't get a sense that their parents were involved in it, but you do get a sense that there was something else and they didn't want to keep it. But with your second success, I'll also like kind of retroactively, they had a weird kind of exchange when you came in, and it looked like Liz was about to say something when they talked about how, you know, you all coming to save them, a group of people with the site coming to save them, as if there was something that she wanted to say. Like you can tell that Liz wanted to say something, but like she was cut off.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll let them continue a little bit, but I want to definitely circle back and hit them on that.
Sure. And like she'll
I-
she'll continue the story and she'll just be like, we've learned things, and you know, the old ways and such. There's magic in these heals, and there's if you know how to tap into it, if you open your mind, as you all know, powers can flow into you.
No, I don't buy that.
It's the truth.
I saw, and so I took the mental angry. So he's just like kind of putting his foot down. He's like, no, I saw that. What are you holding back from us? We're trying to help you, and you've got to be open with us if we're going to make any progress.
We've told you everything you need to know. We are not consorting with the devil. We helped the boy. We've helped others, and now they want to hang us for it. Isn't that enough?
We're not saying we think you're working with the devil, but oftentimes there's more than meets the eye, and there are things out there, and sometimes the tiniest detail can make all the difference. You don't know how many apples and nuts I store up on my house now just so that a giant pig won't eat me. Okay? Little things make all the difference.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Roll a manipulation test. Caius, you can roll it. Take an assist, so you can take a +1 from Yürgan.
Hooray. All right. Can I hope for best on that? And +1.
I was hoping you'd be rolling this instead of me because I had a line to force this also.
Okay, 2 successes. You can see that they kind of exchanged a look, and like Liz says, just tell them. Jeez. And Annika looks over, the strong one. She says, we had a tutor, yes. Her name is Ygritte. That is all that needs to be said. She's a very powerful, but is a misunderstood figure, and if the town were to learn of her, then, well, suffice to say, they're going to hang us for healing a boy. If they learned of her, it would be an even worse fate for her, but honestly, probably for them as well.
Yeah, that tracks. But it might make a difference. So thank you.
And then Liz.
So are the powers and things coming from you two or from her?
Ygritte gifted us these healing properties years ago, in exchange for favors. Nothing untoward, just small favors. There's places that Ygritte can't go that we can, and so we would run errands for her, and as a reward, we receive these gifts. That is the truth. And then, as she's saying that, Liz says, you see, they seem far more reasonable than the other group.
Perhaps you could tell us about this other group. Did they happen to have some symbols sort of like this? And I'll show her the little patch.
And they both exchange a look, and they say, so you're showing them, what is it you're showing them?
The eyes.
So you're showing them that little eye. Yeah, so that found in a couple, like, so throughout, for those of you who've never watched this stuff before, they've had these little symbols pop up every now and then, these different people carrying various pieces of jewelry and talismans and stuff with kind of this runic-looking eye, and they both exchange looks. And
I want to just be clear: we were not on good terms with people.
I
who
don't think
bear
we should
this.
even sell. I don't think we should even tell them that.
yeah,
Oh,
Just want to see how they react to it.
yes, they're like, yes, yes. Do you know them? They
not particularly.
They offered to help us, but only if we would bring them to Ygritte, and that is something we cannot do, and we will refuse that to you as well.
That's fine. It's not something we seek to ask of you.
Now, can you get us out of here? Please.
Do you think Ygritte knows what happened to the father?
I don't know.
Or do you think, and because we understand, you've made it clear that you weren't involved with his disappearance, but clearly this Ygritte is a powerful source of this area. I don't know the right word right offhand, but do you think it's possible she might have the capability of finding him? Because finding him is by and large the key to saving
helping
you without violence. And we are not capable of violence on a large scale.
Ygritte is not kind. She is not unkind. She
I know the type.
is an instinctual creature who
What is Ygritte?
I am sorry. I can't say. But I can't.
I listen, I won't make you. I just want to know Ygritte is something that only we could see.
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, are you actually like not capable of saying? It's okay. I'm just curious. I'm
have
sorry.
Very specific guidelines that I must follow. And if I don't follow them, then I could suffer her wrath, and her wrath would be quick, furious, and more painful than a noose.
Understood. We don't want any pain for you, and I also don't like nooses.
Yeah.
I got it.
Were you two responsible for the earthquake we felt in the church this morning?
They look at each other. No.
Is that something she might do?
I don't. They kind of look like their eyes kind of get wide. Oh dear. She might be here? You don't think? They're kind of like having their own little conversation where they get halfway through a sentence and stop because their facial expressions complete their sentences. We need to leave, and we need to leave quickly.
Easier said than done.
Yeah. Did you have anything to do with the gallows kind of being
Broken
unbuilt
repeatedly?
every time as it was being built by different
they chuckle.
means?
They chuckle at that. We made some of the nails rust. Yes. And they kind of chuckle at that. Lizette specifically, like the weaker one, looks kind of proud.
Impressive.
Touch.
I know a thing
Do I
or
get
two.
the sense that the other group was the thing that Liz wanted to say when we got in?
It definitely looked like she was going to say something. Yeah.
Okay. I
do
want to
wanna-
push her on that too.
What do you want to ask?
I just want to say, so what was it you wanted to say as we were coming in?
Just that you all seem. I mean, you seem like you just want to help us. They saw helping us as a transaction.
Yeah, they should not be trusted.
We didn't trust them. We
What did
didn't
they
tell them
What did they
anything.
do?
What do you
Did
mean?
they just?
Was it a professor and his assistant perchance?
No, there were 3. There were, and she'll go ahead and describe them to you.
Okay.
Yeah, so there were 3, 2 men and a woman. But only like one of the men didn't talk. So the woman was kind of foul-mouthed, cussed up a storm, and the man who talked kind of wore some eccentric clothes, sort of kind of strange, not necessarily rugged type clothing. But they give you sort of a vague description.
This might sound silly, but were there any questions that they asked that we haven't asked yet? Like maybe, I mean, I know that sounds foolish, but at the same time,
Perhaps
maybe it's not.
They had some more well-informed questions.
They seem to know more about Ygritte than you do. They didn't know her name, but they knew that a creature such as her might be here, and that Tennis has the valley itself has a magical intersection, ley lines and the such.
Speaking
No
frankly,
offense, you all are very polite and prepared people. They just seem to know more. That's all.
speaking frankly,
Fine.
we knew nothing of her before speaking with you.
And at this point, you guys hear a knock. All right, run it. That's 10 minutes. You guys got like anything else you want to say?
I have one very quick question. I want to flash them Franklin real quick. Realize terrible phrasing. Terrible phrasing. I want to ask them about Franklin.
Okay.
This little creature seems to be bound to me
Okay.
and doesn't seem to be extremely pleased with me.
Okay.
Do you have any idea?
All right. Let me. I'll roll something to see if they know
Okay.
anything. So I'll roll them. Let's go. Between the two of them, I'll give them 10 dice.
Picture you just like holding the vial out and just be like, "Help!"
So
Wow.
between the two of them, I gave them 10 dice for a learning test, and they got 4 on it. And you
Ooh.
see,
Franklin, it's really
and you see
amazing.
them like they kind of exchange a look, and then they look at you. How many owners did Franklin have prior to you?
I only know of one, maybe 2.
Have you been having? Oh, 2. Oh no. Oh no. So that would make you the 3rd. Oh, you poor man.
Oh no.
Have you been having dreams?
Yes, terrible dreams, and
oh, goodness.
it's been taking an extreme physical toll.
Oh,
uh,
oh goodness. And are you? Do you feel okay? Do you feel yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had them for long, Franklin? That is.
Maybe what is it, like a week or so?
Been a couple weeks, probably about
Couple of
I would
weeks,
say
yeah.
Let's call it 3. Okay, so they can tell you that I'm not sure if you knew the name already. You probably did, but it's a Spertus. It is a bug, and it is a very insidious little creature.
I could have guessed. Yeah.
So it's it's a creature that when it gets to its 3rd owner, the 3rd owner can neither sell it nor give it away, nor can it be destroyed by physical means. It will always return to you in some way. And if you do not, kind of do what it says or do what it wants you to do, awful things will befall you. I mean, awful things are going to befall you one way or the other.
Yeah.
Your life is probably coming to an end. If you have family and friends, you might want to speak to them now before your mind is fully gone.
You were specific on physical. Is there?
Yeah.
And they look, and like, they might get the wrong impression of us if we tell them that.
Listen, I won't judge you. I am in a desperate situation.
There is a way that you could get rid of it, but I don't think you're going to like it.
Well, let's hear it.
You can, through a magical ritual, get rid of Franklin, as long as you sacrifice 12 people.
Oh, that I won't be doing. Okay. I appreciate the information, but well,
there's no other method.
And they kind of like roll their eyes and they're like, well, we don't personally subscribe to it, but if there are some who would say if you were to devote yourself to the church, live a virtuous life every day to the church, join the church, etc., etc., that eventually the Spiritus will leave. But
there's always that option.
Sounds
because-
like
feel like
propaganda, if you ask
sarcastically.
me.
I feel like that's even less likely than killing 12 people.
Does it have to be like 12 all? At
There's
the
not
same
enough field
time?
trips for your students.
Do they have to be willing? I have a lot of
yeah,
questions.
it'll
about
be a big
this.
field trip. Is there anything I can do?
It's an entire graduate cohort. It's just gone.
Is there anything that I need to do to try and keep it happier?
Yes. You just make sure you. Hang on. Yeah, there is something you need to do. Just double checking what it is. So basically, you have to feed it spit.
Ew.
Yeah. You have to spit on.
I have to spit on Franklin.
Just spit on
I
your
know where
Franklin
this is
every
going.
day.
Yeah, you got to spit on.
The analogy just keeps getting
Spit on
worse.
Franklin.
Yeah, I
and
know,
pet him
right?
just a
It's
little bit.
terrible. It's terrible. You have to.
Otherwise, it's painful.
God.
Jesus, Joe.
If I would have known that, I really would have named Franklin Johnson.
Oh God. Oh, what did we do? Yeah, you have to like kind of feed it with spit, and that'll help. But it's gonna, like, you're gonna be getting those dreams and expect it to get worse. Like it's not going to get better.
Okay.
Unless you do one of those two things. Rumor has it.
And how particular is this ritual? Is it just 12 bodies, or
What's that?
12
how-
living people?
how particular is this ritual?
Does it have to be people? Could it be
I've
pets?
I've never performed it. It's just something we've learned. And, I don't think it's 12 particular people. No.
But it is people specifically.
But it is people. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've got an entire
Blood sacrifices.
Yeah. Mm,
There's
Yeah.
an entire organization of people after us. There might be more than 12 people in it.
And you hear the door
We might
knocking,
have
like,
options.
"Oh, all right, guys, come on, let's go.
all right.
Yeah, of
Time's a
course.
wasting." But no,
Thanks.
we'll show you the ritual if you get this out.
Okay. We'll see what we can do. We'll get you out.
And
Okay.
on the way out, Jordan mentioned this in chat that like most of us had not seen or heard of Franklin, and so on the
Oh,
way
that's
out,
true,
there's going to
actually.
be a little bit of
Yeah.
like, what the hell is this
have,
thing
like,
that's going on?
Okay.
have an exposure at some point, I thought.
I know Yürgan saw it.
Jürgen has. I don't
Yep.
think anyone else has.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll say, for the sake of moving the story along a little bit, he escorts you out into the town square. You've been speaking with him and to the sisters for a while. At this point, Gunnar is walking across, and you're all kind of reconvening middle of the morning. Been a couple hours since you saw each other, and you're back, and you have the day. What would you
Sounds
like
like
to
we've
do
got
with
a
this?
day to find Father Mateo.
Seems like they thought maybe if these earthquakes are happening that she might be in town.
Or might be close by.
Yeah,
Maybe close.
that's what they said.
Yeah, so there are the
Ew.
secret in town, as well as a professor and an assistant, and 3 of these people that we don't really want to see.
Do we maybe see if we can talk to Egrid?
Maybe I could try to channel. Would you rather I focus on Father Mateo or focus on Egrid?
Mateo would solve the immediate problem. I think
think
Egrid would solve
if we
the
got
problem at large.
Mateo, we could have the sisters help us.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Father
Just-
Mateo then.
Okay. Try and find a nice little area and just see if any
Okay.
inkling pops up.
Okay.
I think that would afford us our breathing room
So you
first.
set up some space in the ground out of the way and start to write. And Anders,
Yes.
You
Uh-huh.
wanna go spit on your boy, Franklin?
you feel this just like as you watch Caius just sit on the ground and start writing. This just burst of impatience just overwhelms you. Roll an observation test. You need 2 successes.
Gosh,
Oh boy.
I don't like this one bit.
Gonna serve his
Observation.
weakness for death.
I get no successes.
Would you like to push
Uh,
that?
I would like to push that.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
No successes.
So as you all watch and like you're kind of talking to each other, oh, thank you, Adam. You all you know the drill. Takes a little bit of time for Caius to do this, and so you're filling in Gunner on everything that went out. Sure. You all don't really notice, but Anders comes over right as Caius is getting into his trance and just kicks him right in the head.
Hey now, hey now.
Why?
Takes this empty barrel that was laying, that was stacked up in the middle of the alleyway and just smashes it right on top of him. Go ahead and take a physical condition, Caius. And then Anders,
Sigrid's gonna move in between them.
and you see
That's gonna
Anders
leave a bruise.
look towards
Why?
the town center, and there's a group of people there, and this like little bit of like just drool begins to drip down the side of his mouth, and you can see that as if he's about to sprint into the middle of town. So Sigrid, go ahead. If you're going to try to stop him, roll a force test.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say,
I'm a
yeah, go ahead. Anybody
We
can,
may all
yeah, go ahead.
pilot.
Go ahead and roll.
Do we assist or do we all roll?
All of you could roll. It's fine.
I'm gonna push.
to force.
Force, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh dear.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, here we go again.
Okay. I think didn't someone got a success? I saw.
I did.
Okay, Rubatega, you tackle him to the ground. You just tackle him right to the ground, and Anders, you're just sort of like spitting angry right now. Like you're kind of seeing red. You're seeing like these little fires begin to flick up in the distance. You can see
Yeah.
it looks like there's a house that just got caught on fire, and you're just angry, just pissed off all of a sudden.
I'm just so mad, guys.
Okay, I'm sorry I did a bad job whenever you had me try to talk about papers yesterday, but then you don't need to kick me in the head.
Are you done yet?
No, because you kicked him in the
No.
head. Stop.
Oh my gosh, excuses.
Calm it down there.
Go ahead and roll your automatic writing, but take a -1 mod. You just got
That's
kicked in the
fair.
head. Yeah.
No. From that bruised noggin. Adam gave us some bits
So
there.
he's
Nice.
drooling right now, right? While Dan's like
Yeah.
on top of him.
Yeah.
I want to take like a vial or something from my doctor's bag
Okay.
and just like collect some of it.
Damn
Okay.
boy.
You get some
And then
spit. Get some Anders'
dump it
spit.
into-
Get some, sell
on
it on
Franklin.
eBay.
Okay, and you start smothering it on. Okay.
Pressure-
He regains
pressure
his
still on it.
composure. Anders, you regain your composure in about a minute or two. It doesn't. And,
Okay.
And then you kind of realize what you did. The flames that are in the distance in the horizon start to go away. But you remember that you just kicked Caius in the head and smashed a barrel over his head.
Caius, I'm real sorry about that. That was Franklin. I really apologize. I'll buy you a drink or something. Like
Okay, I'd say something mean about Franklin, but I'm worried he'd do more.
I am too.
How did you do on your test there, Jeremy?
I got 1 success.
Okay, and you were
Might have gotten
focusing
more
on.
if I wasn't assaulted.
I believe a psychologist would say that Frederick is just allowing you to express your inner real feelings towards your friend.
Okay, so you're focusing as best you can on Mateo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You see like in your mind, you get a kind of a fairly clear vision of kind of like a small crook and like a wall, like it's like a rocky wall, and there's just bones piled up that have been like picked clean. And you're just typing this entire description out of this small, dark little crook in some rocky wall. No light. You get to kind of a strange sulfuric sense. Whenever you focus on Mateo, that's the vision you see.
Just kind of sit back from it and stare at it. Well, that's incredibly unpleasant.
This is your darkest one yet, Caius.
Ooh. Oh, okay. So rocky wall, sulfur, buried away alive? Was that a lot of bones?
Now there was discussion of a mine, correct? I mean, perhaps
there's a
that
pile
would
of
be where
bones. There's a pile of bones, but you could very clearly distinguish that there was a skull and a variety of different human bones. But probably more than would comprise a single human body.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, so either Father Mateo is a cannibal, or there's other terrible things there. Right. So it's really a lose-lose.
Yeah.
So while you all are doing this, you can see walking across the center of town is this somewhat short, portly fellow, and this tall, slender, very attractive woman that are incredibly mismatched. And they're kind of walking, and you can see that they're kind of looking at some kind of unfurled map in their hands, and they're sort of pointing to different.
Sus of them.
What's that?
Either of them match the descriptions that we got from the sisters?
No, neither of them do.
Okay. Less sus then.
Yeah,
But we'd heard about them earlier, right? The
Right.
researcher.
Yes.
Yeah, one of them, the man looks like a Wilford Brimley type. He's got this big old bushy mustache. He's got like a big portly face, red blotches all over the place, and he's got like a pack on. He's got like all sorts of like pots and pans and like these little saddlebags of books and stuff hanging down on either side of him. And the woman is, you can see that she's got some weapons on her, and the two of them are just chatting in the middle of town there.
So we want to try and call out to them and interact with them.
I mean, if they've got a map, they've probably been researching something. Also, where would we find the stone wall?
I mean, they may have some information.
It's a rocky wall, I should say. It looked more.
Well,
Okay.
It wasn't masoned. There was no mason.
Okay.
I feel like
Okay.
the smell of sulfur is probably our key thing. That's a pretty unique smell.
Sigurd will wander over and offer greetings.
Was it like a natural wall or like one that looked like it had been carved out?
It looked like natural wall.
Okay.
So, hello, fellow travelers.
Well, hello to you too. This is what he does because he's portly.
We've apparently there's a few of us, groups of newcomers to town, and we keep hearing references to each other, and so she'll kind of do introductions.
Oh, well, that's no offense, madame, but I haven't heard anything about you at all.
I think we're the newest to arrive, so we keep hearing about the groups that came before.
I know there were some surveyors that were here, but haven't had the pleasure of meeting them yet. Hildegard and I are very busy. We have many places to go, many things to see, thank you. Very exciting work. Very exciting.
What sort of things are you here to see?
He's an Hybert. Oh, I am a bit of a historian, published author, and you can see it's very. I am just researching some interesting stories of the valley, the area. Yes, all fiction, mind you, but it's part of history is learning the folklore, the myths, the legends, and so the very things, the stories we tell about the areas and the peoples to make us better understand our fears and our shortcomings until we can better understand them.
Would you perhaps say you've seen some strange things before?
Hmm.
Things that people might not normally believe?
Oh, no, pish posh, it's all fiction. I've seen some animals here and there do strange things, of course, but all of it's explainable one way or another. Just because I don't know the answer currently doesn't mean that an answer does not exist. Yes.
Can I get just an impression if he's being honest with me, or
Roll an observation. I mean, he doesn't seem, but you can roll an observation if you want. No, he seems open as a book. However, I will say that as you're there, the tall woman who's kind of standing behind, sort of looking at the horizon, almost kind of seeming like she's trying not to be seen, you do catch one glimpse in her eyes. Look strange. She looks, again, very attractive woman. I'm pointing that out not to be lecherous, but just because it's
sure.
it's
Unnaturally
it's,
so.
it's like it's almost unnatural in the way that it's kind of like skin just smoother and more perfect than you'd imagine, like just like it's like the hair of somebody in a shampoo commercial, and and then and all of that might be explained, but then when you look, you notice that her eyes look kind of strange. Her pupils just sort of have this sort of, I don't know, they're not dilated, but they have like a discoloration to them that just seems, kind of catches you off guard a bit. Roll a learning test, Rubitega.
Oh no.
Let's see. Okay.
Let's go ahead and push it.
Okay.
Nice.
You know that there are many Vaesen that have the ability to take on human form, and that in doing so, sometimes certain aspects of them might leak out and be seen by those of you at the site. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what she might be, but you would guess you maybe have read a story or two in your short time within the castle of trolls having an ability to kind of blend in almost beautifully so. Their eyes kind of can give them away, or they might have a tail or something like tucked under. So you're not 100% confident that's the right answer, but that's your best guess right now. She's tall, but not overly so.
I may turn away for just a quick second and be like, just so that other people can see.
Okay.
Can I do that?
Okay, sure. Just do one of those subtle things. And so I would say everybody can see that. Everyone can see Rubitega doing like a check this out.
And
I'll completely miss the cue and then be wondering if I know this other author.
Roll a learning test, guys.
All right. I will.
Well, all right. Well.
Yeah.
That's just not fair. Yes, you do in fact know who this is. This is a man by the name of Olaf Cavalius, who is a historian and folklorist. All of that checks out. He has written numerous books that have just sort of collected various sections of Jämtland, Lapland. Kind of has traveled and told his stories. But not fiction. Doesn't really compete with you. It's historical, but he kind of tells them in such a way that he's like revealing, like the collections that he had. Yeah,
that's cool.
Is he known to travel with anyone?
I would say you don't know that necessarily. I don't think that kind of information would come out. But he is well respected and well liked. You also know that he is apparently an alum of the University of Uppsala, in fact. But he doesn't teach or anything. He makes it his books do so well.
I think it should be
He doesn't need to. HBU.
Mm-hmm.
HBU.
Horn Pub University.
Oh God, no.
Oh no. Okay.
Poor Uppsala, we're ruining it. Okay.
Does
But yeah,
Well, if somebody wanted a distraction, I'll go over and start fawning over his work and tell him what an inspiration he's been.
Oh, well, thank you. Do you put pen to paper as well?
Dude, I've only got 3 books out so far, but
3 books.
I'm working hard.
You seem like such a young man.
I
That's
started early.
if-
I can't say the first 2 were all that good, and the third one is, but
anything
getting
I
better.
might know. It's always a pleasure to meet a fellow academic.
well, sadly, I like to spend time with academics, but my writing's probably not as grounded as yours.
Well,
But
keep at it.
the
good
things
man.
that you've researched help inspire a lot of what I've written.
Oh, wonderful. That's didn't expect to meet a fan here, but most agreeable. Seems
Yeah,
very,
I'll just
very
start-
friendly. Very friendly man.
I'll I'll chat him up for a bit, talking about 1 or 2 books of his that I know of, and
Sure.
do my best to
Okay.
be a distraction.
What are the rest
Sigrid
of
will
you
try
doing?
to chat with Hildegard.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to maybe perhaps say to her, your eyes are quite a sight to behold.
She kind of looks at you, and her eyes begin to narrow, and she
He's
says,
just gonna kill you.
kind of guardedly, "Thank you."
It's something that we might all appreciate. And I'll just kind of gesture to our group.
And then
It's a little bit of
Sigrid-
a blush comes up, like as everyone starts to stare at her eyes, and she said, "This is making me uncomfortable. Could you please stop looking
Sigrid,
at my eyes?"
or Hildegard, are you from around here? Or have you been traveling companions with him for a while?
We traveled together for some time. Yes. I'm not from here, no. He's got it in his mind that was some sort of dragon in the valleys, and he is very eager to find it. I told him it's ridiculous, of course, but we're going to...
Where does
what
he
was
hear
it? Was it
his-
Egrid? The name that we were given?
Yes,
Mhm.
Igrid. So,
I don't know if we want to out that information.
it's your call.
Go ahead, Melissa, first, because I can't talk to over you.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask, how does he come to hear about the things that he wants to look into? Do you do some research and kind of help track a route, or?
He is very well read and very well researched, and when he decides on a particular subject, I help him find answers. Sigrid, do you wear anything that demonstrates you, that like shows you like any sort of raiment or anything like that that would reveal that you are a member of the church?
Yes.
Okay. And so it's at that point that she notices what you're wearing, and you see a sneer kind of just come across her face. Like just a little. And then she kind of turns her back on you at that point.
Would I have tracked her eyes to kind of get the connection
Oh,
of
yeah.
what she was looking at? And
Yeah. Yeah, she might even have muttered something under her breath when like she looks at maybe like a wooden cross or whatever that you might have on your neck, around your chest.
Has Sigurd been wearing a wimple the entire time?
she's not in full on garb, but
It's just never come up.
Now,
And so she'll Sigrid at that will kind of like, motion to Rubitega that she should probably take a step back.
did you by Hamps hear from two sisters here? A call from them that might have brought you this way?
She like kind of looks at you as you like kind of walk around so that you can see her face to face.
Yeah.
And she kind of looks back over, looks at Sigrid, the sneers back. She looks at you, being a companion of Sigrid's, and some of that is now brushed onto you. And she says, "That's not our business here. Mind your own."
Now, you speak of a dragon that may or may not perhaps be in Ygritte, perhaps? By the name of Ygritte?
No
Powerful
recognition.
being.
No recognition interface. She's like,
That said, the sisters that are our interest here happen to be aware of a tutor that is of the unnatural sort and might be what you're seeking. You know,
don't feed that kind of information into this one's mind.
well, that's why I'm speaking it to you.
If you are what it seems you are, you should know that we're trying to keep certain things quiet. I help him find enough to satisfy his curiosity and those of his publishers, but nothing more. And
It's totally fair. Just to be on the level, there is another group of people here who are looking for the same information with less well-intended purposes.
surveys.
We are hoping to perhaps get ahead of them and, remove their causes here.
Roll a manipulation test, but you're
Boy,
gonna
I'm
get
bad at that.
you're gonna get a -1 because of your association with Sigrid.
Ah,
Somebody else, like if like Yürgan or Anders or Gunnar wants to pitch in and say something here too, you can potentially get that back. But so far it's just been you and Sigrid Sigrid's not helping you out in this conversation.
You got this, buddy.
Yeah, I want to
Ooh.
step in as well.
Okay.
Oh, well, if you want to.
Well, what do you want to say? Well, don't worry. That success will still go. But what do you want to say, Yürgan?
So we're off. Like, is he pretty much like caught up with Caius talking?
Yeah,
right now,
yeah.
or-
Caius has them all completely to himself. Like the two of them are just the two of them are totally doing like the whole English writer stuff.
professor person thing.
Yeah,
We're nerding out.
they're
It's
nerding
great.
out. Like, let's talk about.
I would just
ancestral
weigh in
bookbinding.
on like the importance of, or just like that it's important that we find info before the other ones, and that we're getting kind of ominous messages all over the place.
Okay.
That's kind of been my angle.
She'll kind of sigh and she'll say, "Yesterday, I took him to a very curious tree high in the hills to the northwest. Large oak. The only one for then a sea of spruce. When I got close, I knew that it's not where we should be poking about, but perhaps somewhere you might want to poke about. I don't believe that there's a dragon in these parts, but there is something, perhaps. If you want to go there, but be careful. Or not. This one you can leave. Feed her to whatever you find."
Duly noted.
Olaf,
Oh.
I do believe we should go if we want to keep the light. He's,
Do take care,
yeah,
and
of course.
should you find yourselves in trouble, we're, tell her where we're at in Uppsala,
Okay.
at the castle. Should you perhaps need to look us up in the future?
I don't see why that would ever happen, but thank you.
Well,
Good
like
day.
I said, there are those less well-intended out there.
Oh, well, Olaf, it was such a pleasure. Ma'am, I'm terribly sorry I didn't introduce myself, but you are, man, what a delightful companion you have. I hope you have a great day, too.
I return to Uppsala very often to visit my university. I'm very upset to hear of the scandals that have befallen the place. I will tell you that the faculty that they hire these days would not muster a single consideration back when I was a student there. I am very upset. My dollars, I suppose, for the funding could be better spent elsewhere. But long means to say that I visit sometimes, and I'll be glad to continue our conversation at a later date.
Wonderful.
I am an instructor at that college. It would have been a great honor to have you as one of my former students.
Yeah, he kind of looks at you, and he's like, he's older than you by like 20, 30 years. Right?
Yeah.
He's kind of like, looking. What is your name, sir?
Anders, Professor Anders.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm that one.
And he kind of looks over at Caius now. You consult with this criminal.
So I've had to accept that admitting that others know more than you do on a topic does not mean weakness. So I'm willing to, listen to those more learned than myself.
I've been wrapped across the knuckles, disobeying a teacher from time to time, but leaving them for death on a field trip into...
It was overplayed. Well, I'll tell you what, my next field trip, you're welcome to come along, audit my teaching methods.
Are you threatening me?
Not in the
No.
least.
He is rough around the edges, but he's somebody that you can trust with your life. He's not what has been built up.
I'm going to keep a close eye on Anders in case the red eye starts to come back.
Yeah, meanwhile, Caius the whole time is like rubbing the bruise on his face while trying to say that Anders isn't that bad.
Oh my goodness. Oh God. Okay.
We've got two people who are immediate strikeouts with both of them.
Okay, so the two of them depart.
I feel like I wanted to be like, and I'll totally be there too.
Oh yeah, just pile it on.
Yeah.
Okay. So that took a while. So what do you want to do?
Goodness. Never let me speak to people.
It's fine. What's our next step? We're gonna go hunt down the father, right? The priest
Yeah.
or whatever his name is.
Let's go see if that tree smells like sulfur.
And or this oak tree, which may further guide us. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still think that maybe the idea of finding this missing preacher puts us closer to these two sisters not getting hung tomorrow.
Yes.
Which are we more likely to find?
Can someone
quickly?
guide us
A tree?
to him?
I don't seem to remember what your drawings came up with there,
The stone
Caius.
Yeah,
And
there's like a
bones.
natural stone wall
Sulfur.
somewhere with bones and a smell of sulfur, which is great, but that's kind of
Nondescript.
right. Whereas I feel like we have a better lead to find this big tree.
One tree in a forest of other trees versus a wall.
It's a different kind of tree in a forest of other trees.
May
It's a
I see the
needle-
drawing?
It's a oak needle in a spruce haystack.
Oh, of course, yes.
Is the wall fairly distinct, or is it just like kind of the impression of a wall?
It's like a nook. It's like a little nook in a cave, like a cave wall or something like that. Or it definitely it's not masoned, so there's nothing too distinct about it.
So it's a wall in a cave.
That was the sense that Caius had, either likely underground, or at least not under open sky.
All right, so underground but not worked, so it's not going to be in one of the
Masoned.
mines.
It's definitely not masoned. And there's you didn't notice any like support structure or anything like
Right.
that there.
What time of day is it now?
Like noon.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I would like to go and get a light lunch and bring it to the nice lady I talked to most of the morning and engage her once again to see if she knows about any natural cave systems that a spelunker might be interested in
And keep in mind, I
exploring.
think the defining trait was the smell of sulfur.
Yes, near a hot spring or I mean, we're not going to have active volcanoes in this area, I don't think, but it's worth
Wouldn't
asking
think.
about. Like a sulfur spring or a hot spring would definitely have the smell of sulfur.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
I'm gonna give her a roll. Let's see if she would know anything about this. Okay. Okay. She will mention how, in terms of hot springs, that there are some wetlands to the west, but they don't really have any hot springs necessarily. But she does remember that when they were building the church, that one of the things that they were trying to negotiate is trying to create some kind of fountain using kind of an underground reservoir in the area that never quite seemed to work out. So it's the only thing she can really think of like anything like you're referencing.
Any cave systems, anything around that would be interesting
What was that?
to explore?
Reservoir access.
No. Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, yeah, like nothing volcanic, nothing really hot springy, but just underground water. That's the only thing that she could think of was that. Cave, like nothing in terms of cave systems. Like there's a handful of caves here and there in the Highlands, but be careful if you go poking around in them, because bears are not, I mean, they're not as common as they used to be, but they're still a healthy, decently healthy population, and be careful if you go.
That could explain a pile of bones, perhaps a living creature that's just been eating people.
Yeah, so
Demon
I will
bears.
come back after this short thing and just tell everybody.
Okay.
Prison bear cave. It's a prison at the back with the bear in the front.
Okay.
Probably head out searching if we want to.
Yeah.
So put it like 1 in the afternoon. What do y'all want to do?
Maybe we can do a quick questioning of the spruce forest. Maybe somebody's like, "Oh yeah, the oak tree. It's." Da-da-da-da."
Okay. Roll manipulation test, just sort of a general ask around. It's fine. Okay.
Ooh.
They mentioned
Doing
that
really lucky with this.
yeah, they mentioned that there is a particularly like old oak tree that is fairly high up the ridge of one of the mountains to the northwest. It's a full day travel there, and kind of some dangerous terrain to get all the way up there. Most people don't go up that high, but it's kind of, you can kind of see it almost like it's lording over the rest of the forest that's dotted over the
It's
forest
quite
hill.
apparent.
Yeah, just remember that these are like forested hills. Like there's just tons of so, but there's like one that just kind of stands out, but it's so high up there and kind of hard to get to.
Would that be in the same direction that the caves would be?
Well, that was some
That, yeah, the bears.
getting some
perhaps.
feedback from somebody. I'm not sure who.
I think it's. I don't know.
That's weird. Go ahead, Dan. Say your question again.
Would be that be the same direction we would go to investigate, like the caves in the mountains, the bears or whatever?
Yeah. Yep.
Would there be somebody who can help expedite our travel?
You did have a guide, but he was more of like kind of the route here. You could try to hire somebody if you want. You had a bad first impression with a lot of the locals, but you can try.
Ooh. But sometimes where silver tongues fail, silver works.
Okay.
Yes.
True.
Yeah. So let me wonder how much that would cost you. So how much do you have left for your capital there?
I have
Caius?
all 5 of my capital.
Oh, you have all 5? Okay. So we'll say you can, if you burn, you could roll for it first if you want. If you have any leftover, if you have any resources, you can do that too.
Yes.
Or we can. So just go ahead and roll your resources first there, Rubatega.
Let's see. Oh, okay. No luck on that.
Okay. So you can burn. We'll call it 4 to,
Okay.
and that's penalized just because of the bad first impression
Yeah.
of a local that can kind of get you towards the Highlands if you
We
want.
start out with, and like,
At a certain point, well, all right. If you're throwing around coins that shiny, sure. So I've decided that everyone in tennis has got like a Hickish accent. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm doing that.
Why wouldn't they?
It sounds like it makes sense. Okay. So what's the plan?
I think, do we want to go straight to the tree, or do we want to try and poke around in caves?
I would really like to talk to the possible magic tree before we go wandering into caves full of bears.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. But
Works.
Okay.
When were they getting hung?
Tomorrow.
that's why I figured we'd try and expedite our trip here.
That's not good.
Okay.
Okay.
So is that the
Off on a
plan?
hike we go.
You're going off to the northwest? Okay. So yeah.
That's the wrong idea. I came up with it.
So the terrain is particularly difficult. Most of it initially isn't so bad. Like immediately out, it's just sort of relatively level forest. You pass by a series of kind of like outskirt, like shanty towns in a way. Go ahead.
Would it be worth trying to plug in a scene on our way through this natural terrain here where we can recover?
Sure.
One?
Yeah. Yeah, we want to do it. So let's do. Oh gosh, we haven't done healing in a while. I always forget how it works. Let me pull this up because I got like my little healing rules now. So you're looking. So who's looking to take this to do a little healing?
I have 1 mental.
Okay.
Same for me.
I also have a mental.
Yeah, I've got 1 mental, 1 physical, so
Okay. So there's a couple different ways. Basically, to heal your own conditions, you have to engage in an activity that provides relaxation and rest. It could be we can just summarize it. We don't have to play it as a full scene. It has to involve at least one other person. It could be an NPC or a player. Activities heal 2 mental or physical conditions of your choice, but broken can't be healed this way.
Only one of the people in the
Right.
scene can heal.
So we can do separate scenes, so it's not like we have to do them all. And you can only do this once per day. There's also the ability to heal other people if you wanted to do that as well. But that would require medicine or inspiration rolls and such, and that takes a longer time. So,
I
Okay.
still have the ability to not gain one, so I'd be okay having somebody talk to me so that they can feel better.
okay,
Well, somebody with 2 for sure should take the first round.
okay,
Oh, everybody only has just 1 mental, so
okay.
I have a
it
fantastic
can be
scene.
a combination between. Oh,
I was gonna say I have a fantastic scene that I could use Gunner's help on.
Okay.
I'm just so damn angry still. I don't know what's going on with me. So I'm gonna find a big ass stick and I'm gonna find some like hedge apples or something for Gunner. And like, Gunner, I want you to throw these hedge apples at me. And I'm just gonna beat the shit out of him midair with this stick.
And invent baseball at the same time.
The Swedes invented baseball. Oh my gosh.
It's true. You heard it here.
True.
Holy-
Science.
That's true. Sure. Okay. So yeah, we don't have to do anything more than that. You get like some foul looks from people who are like as they walk past and you're just like beating the crap out of apples. And a couple people shout at you like, he could have eaten those and such. You just probably just makes you angrier.
I aim
Quiet,
for his
Apple.
face. I aim for his face at high speeds.
That's fair. Absolutely fair.
Perfect. So go ahead and heal your 2. Who else is doing one of these?
I need to do at least 1.
Okay.
I just have
Caius
1.
needs to, for sure. Because you can pick any 2.
Oh,
physical
that's
or mental.
nice.
Correct?
I think it's just mental.
It's one or the other.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So
Anybody wants to chat with me, I can.
Do both people participating in it heal 1?
only
Fun.
one person gets to heal it with a scene. We can have we can do separate scenes. Anders and Gunnar have already done it, so they can't be used. But the 4 of you can split 2 and 2, or however you want to do it.
Yeah. I would assume Caius might actually try and ask Sigrid, like if you have any idea why
Well,
the the lady responded to you the way that she did. Oh,
It
sorry.
does. Oh,
Wait, how
It
many
does seem-
people can be in?
Has to be at least one other character, either a PC or an NPC,
Mm.
Right, and
but
then
only
once it
one of
happens-
those people can actually heal.
Yeah. At this
Oh,
point, no matter how
okay.
we cut it, it's basically you or I or one of us and the NPC, but only one of us can heal. So if you want to take it, that's fine because you've got the healing skills, which I do not have.
Sure. Okay.
So
Sorry. Yeah, we can continue.
Okay. So
yeah, basically just that there seems to be a minimal overlap in people with the site and people who still follow kind of an organized religion. So this is not unusual for me to get this type of response from folks like us.
Mm.
Those like me have done a fair amount of ill towards folks with the site or Vaesen over the years, so I understand when it happens.
I'm sorry. We
It's
know
fine.
you're a good person.
I try sometimes. Maybe we
I mean,
can,
you haven't broken a barrel across my face yet.
maybe we can, work on our lying together. But
Exactly. We'll work on our lying, and I'm just gonna set the bar so low that we can't possibly fail.
okay.
there you
or
go.
maybe just work on your barrel smashing.
True. If he's asleep, I think I could pull it off. Maybe. Actually, I don't think I could break the barrel. I think I would just bounce it off him feebly.
You would just shoot it. That's what
I
you
would
that's-
just shoot it. I would set it on him and shoot it. Yes. Okay.
All right,
I'll have to turn away and close my eyes first.
there you go.
That's the recipe for success.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
All
Good.
right. So you basically just have a very blunt, open conversation, and then you practice lying, and that relaxes the two of you. Who is doing the healing? Is Caius doing it?
I think
Yeah, Caius, you can heal yours.
I appreciate it.
And then Rubitega, Jürgen, were you two going to do something?
yeah, I think so.
Okay. What is it you're doing to relax and rest before the travel?
What do you think about that there, Franklin? You've already gotten a good look at it, right?
Yeah.
What do you think it is, Franklin?
Interesting.
Oh,
I mean, I'm a doctor, so I've seen a lot, but nothing like that.
It's a little more
Not-
crooked than
they're
you
not
used
normally
to.
the name Franklin, right?
You're a good person. Okay, so the two of you talk about Anders's Franklin. That's your relaxing. There's your
Yep.
step. Okay, who's taking the healing? Out of
Let
the
off
two?
some steam.
I was gonna let Joe take it.
Okay,
All right.
perfect. So we'll say that all takes an hour, and so you all probably sit off around about an hour or two after noon. You get a guide who is this sort of gruff, old, angry, codger who's just doesn't really want to talk too much. He's not a sightseer. He's not trying to show you that. You told him you said you wanted to take him. You wanted him to take you towards that big old tree, and he's I'll take you to the base, but I ain't climbing up with you.
I mean, he's already begrudgingly here with excess money, so
okay.
Can I
go ahead.
that may be easier if he's not there when we get there and try to
Mhm.
commute with the tree.
Can I do an observation on him not wanting to climb up out of just the journey itself, or is there something about the tree that he doesn't like?
Yeah, go ahead and roll
Huh.
observation.
Does he got the
I
spoops,
don't know.
or just doesn't want to?
It just looks like he's an old man, doesn't want to climb a mountain, as far as you know. Okay, so it's the terrain's kind of rough once you get away from town. So you pass through like some nearby copses, trees, and then you kind of these little shanty towns, probably where the sisters lived before they were, taken into custody. These types of places here and there. A couple people kind of poke out of their various huts and kind of look at you as you're walking past, kind of like more random folk, and then you're off, and you can see that the elevation begins to gradually, increase.
I'm right back.
Yeah, no worries. And as you're kind of climbing and dodging through some of these trees and such, it's definitely a hike, and you're trying to make time here because you do have there is a clock on this. So I'm gonna have everyone go ahead and roll force tests. I'll give you all a +1 because you have a guide that's helping you. But you need to go, and you're gonna need 2 successes in order to not take any kind of physical condition. So keep that in mind if you decide to push.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's passing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and tap into. We can use our insights once a session, right?
Yes.
Somehow my near burst lung is going to give Caius a burst of superhuman strength.
Okay, I like it. I like it. You're just thinking back to the near-death experience. I'll go ahead and hit Rubategas. Oh God, Rubategas only got like.
Wow.
Okay, Rubategas screwed too. All right, so basically, if I understood that correctly, only Sigrid passed. So everybody else, just take a physical condition. You know, you're exhausted. This is like it's an exhausted climb. You're going up a heavy climb. That's all it really basically is. Like no one breaks anything, gets an injury. You're just exhausted. And more than once, you come across these sort of large herds of kind of reindeer, and you have a guide with you. It's like maybe one of you starts getting close, and it's like, no, you don't want to go up to them right now. It's kind of dangerous. We're getting close to the season, if you know what I mean. Gives you a wink. It's when everyone gets all excited. Franklin start popping out all over the place. But yeah, just be careful of them. They might look like friendly animals and such, but you approach them in the wrong situation, they might get kind of mad. But eventually he gets you to the base of what looks to be a little bit rockier of a climb. You can still see that the hill itself is still covered in trees, but you can see at the very top, we'll say this, but the whole travel here probably takes about 4 hours. But at the very top, you can see that there's this very large, kind of broad canopy, like this, like almost like rounded treetop that is a little bit different than a lot of the other trees, and it stands out once he points it out to you. If you probably weren't looking for it, you probably wouldn't notice it, but it's a ways up there. It's like, well, there it is. You can see it. But like I said, I ain't climbing up there. But y'all are welcome to. You paid me to guide you out here. And I'll be down here and guide you back. No problem. But that's about it. So.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Go ahead and give him my last resource, just as a thank you kindly.
Okay. So
hopefully he'll actually still be here.
Right. So do y'all have any like climbing equipment or anything? Did you guys bring any ropes?
Ooh,
or
did we?
I thought we
got
bought
stuff.
some.
Yeah.
Sure, we did.
Thought we bought
Take a
some.
look.
Yeah.
Let's
You
take a look.
always need some rope.
Party inventory. We have rope.
Okay, that'll help.
Yeah. That's it. We didn't take anything specific outside of that.
Okay. So you're taking a fairly direct route, trying to go up, but you get your rope, probably tie each other together or something like that, and someone goes up and does the climbing. I'm just gonna roll over the force rolls before. I'm not gonna have you do another one. But you start climbing up through the trees, and there's basically a couple different terraces, and some of them are rocky and tough and more vertical climbing, and others a little bit more gradual. Once you get up about 3 or 4 tiers, and this all probably takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it's nearing, you can tell it's nearing sunset at this point. You get to a kind of a more gradual like 45-degree angle that goes up towards the tree itself. Who's got good observation here? Who's good at? I'm sorry, not observation. Investigation. Or vigilance. I'll take vigilance too. That's
I
fine.
do have
think-
my binoculars.
I can do it either or. I'm
I
good at
have
those.
investigation as well.
Yeah,
I think
I'm good at both
investigation
of
would
those.
probably be the best right now. So if you've got it, I'll say 2 people can roll it.
I'll roll it.
Or
Okay. Okay, Gunnar and
Is it-
Anders.
If it's vigilance, I got my binoculars, and I'm happy to use them.
2 successes.
Okay, so both Gunnar and Anders, you guys start to notice kind of something peculiar in the ground itself, because like on this particular 45-degree angle, like the ground is much softer than it's been in some of the previous tiers, which are a little bit more rocky, as if there's like soil or dirt and whatnot. You notice that there are these long grooves in the ground, a couple feet wide or so. Almost looks like wagon grooves, but it's far too wide, for like a wagon wheel, and plus it's just like a singular one. Like some of them crisscross around each other. Anders, with your extra success, you can tell that there are some that are much older. So both of you see like the really recent ones, no problem. But as you start to look, you can see that there's other places where there's grooves that the earth's begun to kind of rise back up. It's as if something, it's almost as if something like a wagon or like with a really wide wheel or a wheelbarrow, something like that, was just grinding with something heavy right through this earth here.
Which doesn't make much sense for the elevation.
Yeah, you are nowhere near town at this point. Like you can look down and have an amazing view of town, but you're nowhere near.
But so there's like for each one of these paths, each one of these ruts, it's side by side, so like two wheels.
It looks like it's just a singular, like a motorcycle almost.
Okay,
but they're like different. But there's more than one. Like so, it looks like something's come and gone.
They criss and cross, different depths, different widths.
But in Anders' extra one would notice that it goes back. Like there's others that are older that have been kind of built up and here and there.
Okay. I'll point that out. And it cuts down into the stone, yeah, or just into the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, when you track it all the way, it's mainly you've only seen them in like this 45-degree hill that you're trudging up slowly, and kind of like your feet are kind of getting caught in some of the dirt. But some of the other tiers were mostly rock or roots, and there wasn't really any space to see such a thing.
Okay.
Seems we're on track for something supernatural.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep our journey going.
So you keep heading up, and eventually, just as sunset, just as when you look off to the west, you can see the sun is sort of just barely peeking out over some of the larger hills of the west. You're up at a fairly high elevation, but
have any more of that coffee with you?
You're all tired. All of you are tired. It's been a long day. A lot of conversation in the morning. You got up super early. All of you got up at like 4 o'clock in the morning because of the shakes by the church. And you eventually reach this kind of open space. Like you pass by a handful of trees, and then there's just a open space between the last of those trees and what looks to be a massive trunk of an oak. This gnarled kind of... it's got to be at least maybe 20 feet in diameter. Like the trunk itself kind of contorted and twisted and turning. And then the branches kind of extend upward and outward, and it gives all sorts of shade here and there. But it's an enormous tree. Just absolutely enormous tree. And Anders and Gunnar, you continue to see these grooves that you've sort of basically been tracking, and they seem to be going directly towards this tree.
Okay.
Boy. Well, if y'all want, I can walk towards it first and die first.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. So Rubiteka walks up towards the tree and dies. All right, who's next?
Jeremy, go.
Okay. So you walk up towards the tree, and you can see that there's this kind of a large, very large knot that's hollowed out on the northern side of it. As you're kind of keeping your distance a little bit, walking around, there's huge roots, undulating roots that pick up out of the ground. The closer you get, you're kind of having to carefully step over. But you can see that there's this hole. It's got to be a couple feet in diameter at least. It's at least 6, 7, maybe even like 8 feet wide. This big old hole in the middle of the tree itself. And again, that trunk is 20 to 30 feet wide at various points.
Can I just give it a listen?
Would you like to roll a vigilance test, Rubitega? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't think I can use my binoculars to hear, so I won't add them. Yeah.
Fair. You want to push?
Why not?
Okay.
I'm a sucker for pushing. No.
You do not hear anything but the sound of the wind.
All right. Someone else then.
Okay. But yeah, you don't see anything. You don't hear anything. You just see this big old hole, couple feet up off the ground, in the middle of this massive tree.
All right. I suspect that's our point of interest, but
Mhm.
Well, he
Hello?
didn't die. We can go check it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give a listen too. I don't know if it's going to do anything, but I could try.
I'll let
Does
one
it
more. I'll
smell
let one
like
more person do a
sulfur?
vigilance. I'll let one more person
Okay.
do a vigilance.
Maybe somebody that's got better.
I
line
don't.
of
better
nose.
It's
hear.
not me.
I'll take a
Okay.
a gander.
Go for it, Gunnar.
there you go.
Okay.
A success.
So it doesn't smell like sulfur, but it does kind of got a it's got a almost like a sterile odor to it, like you would expect an oak tree of this to give off kind of a certain scent, but it's almost as if there's just sort of nothing really coming through. You also notice that there's a glint of something inside. There's something kind of shining. You can see inside the tree.
Embedded, like it's grown over something.
No, it's in the hole. It's in that kind of big knot, that hollowed out knot. Like it's literally inside the trunk of the tree.
Mhm.
I'm gonna check it out, but I don't want to approach it right in front of the hole.
Okay.
I can be our guy in front.
Okay.
You know,
So-
our punching bag.
Gunnar and Rubitega, you get up close. You kind of get on either side and you peek in. And I mean, for lack of a better way of describing the glint, you see treasure. You see like goblets, and you see big old like jewels and nuggets of things. And
Now, recall Hildegard speaking of potentially a dragon. Perhaps it's a dragon's treasure. I don't believe we want to mess with that.
Wait a moment. I describe exactly what I see to Rubitega.
Yes.
Is
yes.
that what you see?
Rubitega, it is what you see. You both see this. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Oh.
All right. So it's not something in the fumes affecting our minds then.
There's something else that you can see, but you don't really have the light. There's something else there, something almost cloth-like. It's not giving off a reflection, and it's like way in the back.
Well, I do have a magnifying glass, and if someone can hold up a torch of some sort.
I have binoculars also.
Okay. So through this weird combination of binoculars and magnifying glasses and a torch, you kill so many ants. All the ants are dead.
All the ants.
All the ants are dead.
You notice something. It looked almost like it was like a curtain or a tapestry of some kind, but when you look closer, it's actually kind of translucent, almost like snake, reptilian skin of some kind. Shedded.
Do we want to call out to it?
Oh no, it's shedded. It's like folded into flake.
Yeah, someone should grab that out so we can get an idea of what we're
All right.
expecting.
I will go and attempt to die.
Okay.
as I investigate this.
Okay. Rubitega, roll a fear test.
Oh,
This is
gosh.
kind of scary. You're kind of going into what
Mhm.
might be a dragon's horde.
Did you take safety in numbers?
Yeah, you
I
do.
have no experience to take safety.
Oh, that's right.
You would get a bonus though. Gunner's right next to you, so you can go ahead and take
Have
it.
out my silver
Hey,
plated knife.
it's a 6.
Okay, and because Gunner's there with his knife, you feel a little bit more courageous, and you climb into this this hole in the and you
I
can
want
see
to be
it's very
very clear that I'm not taking anything.
okay. So you go inside. It's very spacious and roomy in here. Like it's quite big. Like there's a lot of room inside. What do you want to do when you're in here?
just give a quick look around to make sure there's nothing that we didn't see.
Okay. I'll let you re-roll if you want to do. You can do an investigation now that you're inside, since you already did vigilance. Vigilance, I feel like we already did. Investigation's more for kind of looking around and making sense of what you see. Vigilance is more just being wary about what might come out and get you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna find it. So
yeah, you see, there's like a collection of like all sorts of stuff here, but you do notice though that it's not like full. Like there's not a ton of stuff. Now that you're getting in here, you kind of notice that it looked like a lot more from the outside, and you get inside it with the space of here, it looks a little bit bigger. And you also notice that like there looks to kind of be like these little sections where like there's like something's been dragged out, and like there's like an empty space for something, as if there was more here and it was taken and dragged out. But you work your way across, and you can see that there is this long chunk of shedded skin. I mean, you've dealt with reptiles and such before, and this looks very much like that.
Is it possible to drag it out, or would I be better off just like cutting a piece off of it?
Tell me what you want to do.
Well, does it feel manageable? Like I can.
Sure. You can. I mean, like
Is
it's
it like
it's
the size of a bed sheet? Or
it's
like
pretty
what's
big. Yeah, it's probably bigger than a bed sheet, but
I kind of like, bundle it up a little bit.
You just tell me this: do you want to take it all, or do you just want to take something small? Like something manageable.
Let's just stick with something manageable.
Okay, so yeah, you just take a little bit that's manageable. It doesn't have to be a tiny little piece, but we'll just say you take, like a bed sheet size section of it, which is manageable. Yeah. You just kind of roll it up, fold it up, whatever. But yeah, you've got it, no problem.
Okay, we'll come back with that, and we can try and investigate it in the light a little better.
Okay, all right. So you bring it out, you take a look at it. This is the biggest piece of shedded reptilian skin you've ever seen in your lives.
And that was just a piece of it, right?
Just a piece.
Just a piece of it. Yeah. I've never seen a reptile that's the size of a house myself, so...
maybe we should just get in that carriage and head back.
Perhaps.
I haven't found anything that would clear those two, though.
Not
running out of time.
This was not particularly insightful, to be honest.
What was shiny inside?
There was like
treasure.
Just like treasure. There's like literally like gold and silver and gems.
Do we just want to yell into the cave and see if something answers?
What was the...
To be clear, you were inside, looked around. There was nothing else inside other than what I was describing. Like you saw the whole thing, Rubitega.
Does somebody want to throw a coin in and see if something comes angrily back?
Have at it.
You throw a coin in, and it goes clink. You shout into it, nothing happens.
Oh, even the coin didn't do anything?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe this is...
Yeah, we know Egred's not home right now.
Yeah, it's just further proof that they're probably in town.
Diesel Shot, thanks for the raid. Thank you. They are throwing coins inside of a tree because they're scared, because there might be a dragon or something inside of it.
It seems that maybe actually isn't. I don't know.
Well, if Egred's at the village,
then she's not home.
Yeah.
And just put my nose to the wind and see if I smell anything that smells like sulfur.
No. I mean, it mostly just smells like forest. There's kind of like a sterile, like a sterile scent coming up from the actual inside of the tree, like the Gunnar smelled before. And now that you have like the skin, like seems to be what's giving off that smell. Like it just sort of mutes everything.
Perhaps we can locate someone who smells like this.
It's not a terrible idea. I don't feel comfortable walking around town sniffing everyone.
You have dogs.
Are there any prints on the ground showing that anyone's been up here recently? The front of the cave, other than those wheel ruts, are we noticing any other impressions?
No.
I suspect they're
your
not
own.
so much wheel ruts as claw marks, but
Is there anything that we can identify in the treasure pile that might look like it's from the church or something? Like,
I mean, there were goblets and things, so it's conceivable. Like, it could be some sort of something ritualistic, grail like or whatever.
Wait a minute. So it looks like the things are silver. Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's a mixture of like it's like precious metals and precious gems.
Okay.
And such.
All right. Is it all shiny? Like if it's been here a long time, it should have a patina on it.
No, not all of it. Some is shinier than others. Like there's definitely some that
Okay.
have probably been around longer.
and you suggested it looks like something's been drug out. Perhaps we can see which way it went. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. The only tracks going away seem to be these grooves in the ground.
Are they going back the way we came, or perhaps
It's a
direction?
straight line, so it's hard to tell specifically whether it's coming or going. But since there's nothing seemingly here, you would assume probably it was going.
Forget it. I'm gonna step into the cave.
Okay.
We need information.
You step inside, no problem. You're inside this hollowed out tree, no problem. That's still, by the way, living. Like there's still all sorts of tree, like there's leaves and bush, even though this trunk is literally hollowed out.
I'll follow suit. My curiosity would be, does anything in this room compare to the drawing that Caius made?
You don't see you don't see any bones. You don't see any rock wall. You just see it's just like hollowed out, like petrified
treasure.
old wood walls type of thing, but does not look like the stuff that Caius saw in his academic writing now.
What else is around us?
There's some trees, but they're at a distance. Like it almost seems like the radius of this particular area extends outward to like the branches, and like no trees or any other vegetation, like no flowers, no bushes are in like this radius that's underneath the canopy of this big oak.
All right, I'm gonna start just in a pattern away from the oak and just carefully examining the ground, seeing if there is a crevice, an entrance, or something that we're just not immediately seeing.
Yeah,
that would go underground.
Yeah, you don't see anything like that. I mean, the ground is mostly just good soft dirt, other than the roots that are nearest the base of the tree. And a lot of that dirt and soil seems to be dug pretty nicely with the grooves.
So I'm talking to the group. So hypothetically, if one were a dragon, why would you hoard your treasure in such a conspicuous place? I mean, passing by this tree, you would see the glint of what's inside of it. I mean, other than bait, I can think of no other reason. Its domicile does not appear to be here.
Other than the skin, I mean,
the skin, does it look like it was, so like when snakes shed skin, they roll over rough things so that it helps pull the skin off? Is that what it looks like? Like it used the rough part of the bark to just pull the skin off?
It's definitely not perfect. Like it's not like a perfect skin. It's like there's some that are big patches and some that's been torn up. So
right, but it's not been carefully folded and placed inside it. It looks like it was just ripped off.
Looked like it was ripped off and just kind of casually tossed aside or something, or just left.
Sigurd wants to look around the outside of the tree.
Okay.
And try to like cut off a piece of bark.
Sure.
Just to see if like that looks normal.
Yeah, you do. Taking a look at it, like this, like when you look at the wood itself, it's sort of dry. Like it almost has the feel of like an old dead tree, but it's just you look up, you see the canopy. It's just kind of it's just weird. You get the sense that this place is imbued with some sort of enchantment that allows for this growth or whatever to still occur. Like you don't know what it is, but like you get that sense. Sorry, Gunnar.
Is there enough of the skin to get an idea of how large the creature is, or if it is in fact snake-like, or if it has legs?
Would you all like to try to roll a learning test to see if you can identify?
Yes, I would.
Okay, having not seen the creature, this creature live, I'm gonna put this at a penalty. So we're gonna say I'm gonna say a -2, having not seen it, but you've seen, you've got some circumstances.
Can I help him by like holding one end and kind of helping him lay it out to whatever dimensions it might be?
Yeah.
Pointing out that
Yeah.
looks like it might be.
I can help with that too because I'm pretty much shot for rolling myself.
Go for it.
So do we roll to help or just?
No,
say-
just take
yeah.
take a +1 for whoever's helping. So
Yeah.
Joe already did.
Joe
roll.
already did roll, but more will give you more information. So if you want to keep rolling.
I'm gonna push mine.
Okay. Okay.
All right, 3.
Okay. So
Five total.
Jürgen and Anders, the two guys who work over by the college, this sort of makes the learned folks. You can definitely, as you watch Gunnar and Rubitega begin to unravel the this skin. You go back inside, you get the rest of it, and you see them just sort of slowly unfold and kind of piece it out, and it just keeps getting longer and sort of longer and longer, and you start taking a look at the width of it, right? The width of how much it is. And you realize, and then you kind of look at the grooves themselves as well. You kind of start to triangulate a little bit. You've read stuff about dragons. Bigger than this. It's big. This is big. But dragons are, large creatures with broad shoulders and backs and big stomachs and huge legs. Like, no. And that's when it starts to dawn on the two of you that there's another creature that has been confused sometimes for a dragon that is nonetheless incredibly dangerous and incredibly powerful, and also known to hoard treasure. And it is a creature called a lindworm. There we go. Look at that. Looks like we got a couple people
on
caught
top of it already.
Some of you caught it. Yeah. And so this has the markings and the clear, like this clearly to you seems like you're dealing with a lindworm. And also, because you've got 3 successes, it also dawns on you that you're looking at this skin, and then specifically that the sisters somehow got healing properties. That this is a magical item. Like having the skin of a lindworm in itself has the potential to provide magical abilities. And so clearly this could be how this actually happened. You would also know that lindworms are with 3 successes. Oh, it's so close. You also know that
5 total.
it's not how that works.
Okay.
That's not how that works. No.
All right. I tried.
Yeah. You would also know that they are incredibly powerful and are, and strangely enough, immune to fire. They can't be harmed by it at all. And they normally feed on things like cattle and other, forest animals. And then it's like there was a predator out in the valley, caused this sort of migration of certain creatures in such a way. Like, yeah. And it dawns on you that you guys are in some shit, because a lindworm is not a creature to mess with. Yeah.
So we
I
should
take it
camp here
they're-
for the night,
they're-
you're saying?
They're not friendly then.
They are not. They are not friendly at all.
And they said that she wasn't not necessarily a nice.
She said that she wasn't necessarily. She was very instinctual.
One might say animalistic.
Animalistic.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Checks out.
So I think we'll call it on that reveal, and we'll pick up on this in 2 weeks. Now that you know what you're dealing
We're
with,
in a hole of death.
you guys are in a wee bit of trouble.
Here we
Okay.
are saying, "Hey, Lindworm, are you home?"
All right, so we'll call it there, and let's do our XP questions. Good guess, Jordan. You got it. Yeah. Let's see. Let me pull up the questions once more so we can get your XP. Let's see. Participate in the session. So just keep track of your own. Yeah, you guys are in, you guys are in some trouble. Participate in the session. 1 XP. Confront any Vaesen. You talk to a troll. You talk to a troll. Okay. Did you identify a previously unknown Vaesen? I'll give you the Lindworm. Were you affected by your dark secret? Anders.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have it. Did you take risks to protect other people? Nah, not really. Have you learned anything? Yes, you've learned some stuff. You've learned. Well, what have you learned other than that? What do you all think you've learned other than that this is a Lindworm you're dealing with?
That they've granted powers to the sisters.
Yeah.
That'll work.
We also
that they were not behind the
kid
father.
or the father missing.
That
tangentially
we trust.
learned the other organizations here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
other
that's fair.
organizations here.
Okay. Didn't develop anything. I don't think anyone really performed an extraordinary action, though kicking Caius in the head is very tempting.
Satisfying, but not
Very
extraordinary.
satisfying. I think it's extraordinary. All right. So let's hit some closing plugs
We get a
here.
bonus.
Oh, and yes,
Oh,
you
yeah.
get your bonus from your Annals of Society. So take all that. So Bert, we're gonna get your podcast.
Bluemagic.com, BLUMAGIK.
And you've got something going on tomorrow night, right?
Do indeed. First edition Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, over on Notorious DMG.
Notorious DMG.
Yep.
Okay. Chuck.
Oh man, yeah, I'll be over on Notorious DMG for some D&D tomorrow night. Wednesday, it is Spectaculars that Jeremy is running. Thursday's Turkey Day, so we don't usually do anything on Turkey Days. Friday will be on Defenders of Cobalt for some more Mutant Year Zero, and this coming Saturday will be on Goodman Games Official for a. I've woven in the adventure miracle airman. I don't know how you say the damn thing. Anyway, that one wizard dude was framed. The 4th level DCC adventure. So yeah, that's
Okay.
what we got.
Jeremy, your podcast, sir.
Sure. Plutecast, PLEWD.
Yeah, perfect. And then Melissa and I, we do Adventures in Lollygagging. So next Monday on our own channel, twitch.tv/the Lollygaggers, you can catch us playing another Free League game as we get back to our alien campaign after a week off. And I think on Friday this week, also on our channel, day after Thanksgiving in the US, we are going to be trying out Best Left Buried, I think, for the first time. At least we think we are. We might be. Probably.
Cool.
So we're going to give that a try. And I think that's all we got for this week. And then next week, I think we're getting back to Mutant Year Zero. So follow everyone's channels, get everyone's Discord, check out the Defenders of Cobalt Discord. You can find us there as well. And that's it. So thanks for the raids tonight. And this week, there's tons of other good stuff on the Free League channel. So keep an eye out. Follow Jowsm3 on Twitter. It's Matt's. That's Matt's Twitter. He puts out all the schedules and such, and you can get all the good Free League stuff. So we're good for the night. So good night, everybody.
Goodbye.